Hello, my name is Mulan, and I am on the negative side, and I'm going to be stating my first negative constructive. So, when I was doing my research and everything, to go against what Christina said on her inherency claim, when an inmate is released, statistics say that there are more than 70% chance of them returning back in jail for a new crime. The Bureau of Justice states that within 5 years of release, 82% of property offenders were arrested for a new crime compared to 77% of drug offenders, 74% of public offenders, and 71% of violent offenders. So it seems like at the end of the day, these people are still ending up back in crime. It doesn't matter what their crime is, they're still ending up back in society. Also, death penalty may look immoral, but in a whole, there's some parts that are actually not, because when you take someone's life, you're not supposed to take someone's life. That's not our choice to take someone's life. And even though the government has the death penalty, and we are also taking someone's life, it's more like, I don't want to say an eye for an eye, but that's kind of what's going on. Yeah, so I feel like, and also like from a lot of people that have been in these cases, it seems like they deserve what they're getting. Like, there's a lot of cases I found that people were brutally murdered and raped, and sometimes they get free and sometimes they don't. Also, more money is spent on inmates when they have life in prison, because with felons aging, billions of dollars are spent on healthcare. So since billions of dollars are spent on healthcare, like, yes, when they go on death row, like, it is a long process, but it's a long process for a reason. But when these people are just having life on parole, life without parole, they are basically in there for their whole life, and a lot of them do end up like aging. So when you're getting older, you start having like sicknesses. Ben Harris, who is a co-author of 10 Economic Facts About Crime and Incarceration, noted that prisons are also spending more on healthcare thanks to the population of aging inmates. In 2013, the Pew Charitable Trust found that 44 states spent $6.5 billion on inmate healthcare in 2008, which is a jump more than 54% from 2001. And also because of that, like, all that money from that healthcare, those people could have been like executed. That money could have went to education, because we do spend more money on prisons than we do for our education systems. The Information Death Penalty Center reveals that cases without the death penalty cost $7,400,000, while cases where the death penalty is sought costs $1.6 million, but that's mostly because we are trying to make sure that these cases get settled properly. If we just went like, okay, you're getting the death penalty, we're going to kill you in like a month, and then you find out that person didn't do it, or that they could just get like life without parole or something, then it's just, it kind of like, it seems wonky in a way. Also, I want to state that the death penalty actually does follow the 8th Amendment. According to Cornell University Law School, the Supreme Court has ruled that the death penalty is not a per se violation of the 8th Amendment ban on cruel and unusual punishment, but the 8th Amendment does shape certain procedural aspects regarding when a jury may use the death penalty and how it must be carried out. They also stated that the U.S. Supreme Court had determined that a penalty must be proportional to the crime. So if you kill someone, that what's happening to you should be equal to that. Otherwise, the punishment violates the 8th Amendment's prohibition against cruel and unusual punishments. So if you robbed a car and we give you the death penalty, that will be cruel and unusual punishment, because all you did was steal a car. Like, you didn't kill, you didn't take anybody's life, you just took probably something that's tangible. To go on her solvency claim by that they will just give the inmates life in prison without parole. According to Barrett Institute of Justice, taxpayers spend $31,286 as of 2012. So if you think about this, all those people that are on death row that are going to end up being life in prison instead of getting executed, that money is multiplying in itself. She also, not all death row inmates are not allowed visitation, so I think that's that depends on what you did. So if a person killed someone and they're on death row, the government or the state gets to decide whether this person gets to get visitation rights or not. So you kind of if you're going through the process of going through this crime, you kind of lose your privileges, just like how you lose your privilege to vote when you get out.